Zyra had never seen a human before. From the moment she set foot on the research station at the edge of human-explored space, she felt something unfamiliar stir within her. Her species, the Aurivians, were known for their calm logic, emotional restraint, and precise thinking. Instincts were not a common thing for them. They were taught to observe, analyze, and report. But when her eyes landed on Captain Elias, everything changed. He was standing near the observation deck, looking out at the endless stars beyond the station's glass walls. His posture was relaxed, yet every motion seemed purposeful. He was nothing like the simulations Zyra had studied. Humans were unpredictable in ways Aurivians rarely encountered, but Elias carried a quiet confidence, a mixture of curiosity and calm courage that tugged at something deep inside her. Zyra blinked. She wasn't supposed to feel this. Her training had warned her about interference, about letting emotions cloud judgment. Yet her instincts screamed for her attention. It was subtle at first, a fluttering in her chest, a tightening in her mind, but it grew stronger with every glance. "Zyra," her colleague Lirok said, breaking her focus. His voice was precise, almost metallic, as if emotion itself were foreign to him. "Why are you staring at the human longer than necessary? Observation logs require neutrality." Zyra shook her head, forcing herself to step back. I am observing, Lirok, as instructed." Her words sounded hollow even to her ears. She turned back toward Elias, pretending to record data, but she couldn't stop her gaze from lingering. Elias turned suddenly, and for a brief moment their eyes met. Zyra felt a strange heat in her chest, an instinctive surge she had never experienced before. Her mind tried to analyze the reaction. It could not be explained by logic. She found herself drawn to him, fascinated not just by his appearance, but by the way he seemed to radiate life, something her species had studied but never truly understood. The station's corridors were quiet that evening. Most of the humans were in their quarters, and the Aurivian staff were busy with experiments. Zyra walked slowly, almost without thinking, following Elias as he moved toward the docking bay. Each step felt like it carried her further away from the rules she had been trained to obey. She watched him carefully. He interacted with the station's systems with a simple touch, yet he seemed to anticipate the reactions of every machine. His movements were neither robotic nor overly calculated. They were natural, flowing, and confident. Zyra's instincts whispered that this was more than intelligence. There was something in humans that logic alone could not measure, courage, intuition, and an almost reckless bravery that seemed to shine from within. "Zyra," Lirok's voice echoed in the corridor again. "Do not lose focus. We must not interfere." Zyra shook her head once more, trying to ignore the warning. Her instincts overpowered the voice of reason. She had to know more about this human. She had to understand why her body reacted this way when near him. As she moved closer to the docking bay, she noticed Elias speaking to a young human engineer. His voice was calm and patient, and he seemed genuinely interested in her ideas. The engineer smiled, and Elias returned the gesture, not with formality but with warmth. Zyra felt a pang of something strange, envy, admiration. She didn't know. Her species had no word for this. Suddenly, the station's alarm system blinked red. A minor warning, a pressurization sensor detected a drop in one of the external modules. Humans and Aurivians alike rushed to check it. Zyra's instincts told her to stay back, but every instinct also screamed one thing: Elias could be in danger. She ran toward him, faster than she should have, weaving through the chaos. She reached the module just in time to see Elias checking the readings. The panel sparked slightly, and the air hissed from a small leak. His eyes widened for a fraction of a second before he calmly activated the safety protocols. Zyra's heart raced, not from fear but from instinct. She moved to assist, guiding the human engineer through the steps to stabilize the system. Her mind was clear, focused, but beneath that clarity was an urge to protect Elias, a desire she could not explain. "Thank you," Elias said, glancing at her with a small, appreciative smile. "I didn't expect assistance so quickly." Zyra's breath caught. Her instincts overwhelmed her again. She wanted to say more, to tell him how remarkable she found him, but her species' rules forbade it. She could only nod and retreat, pretending to return to her observation logs. Later that evening, Zyra found herself in the station's observation deck again. She watched Elias from afar, taking notes, but the notes felt meaningless compared to what she felt inside. Humans, she realized, had something her species did not. A natural bravery, a willingness to face danger with courage, and a spark that inspired those around them. She remembered the flicker of concern in his eyes during the module incident, the calm yet confident way he took control of the situation. It was instinct and intellect combined, a combination Zyra had never seen in Orivians. Her species valued intellect above all, but Elias showed her that instinct could be just as powerful, perhaps even more so when paired with courage. Days passed. Zyra continued her observations, but found it increasingly difficult to maintain professional distance. Her instincts guided her toward Elias at every opportunity. She watched him train with the human crew, noting the way he adapted quickly, helped others, and remained calm under pressure. Each interaction seemed to amplify the strange feelings inside her. One evening, while the station was quiet, Zyra approached the observation deck again. Elias was alone, staring out at the stars. She hesitated, unsure if she should speak, but her instincts propelled her forward. "You seem different," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Elias turned, surprised. "Different? How do you mean?" Zyra paused, searching for the right words. Her species had no language for instinct-driven admiration, no way to explain the fascination that had overtaken her. "Your presence, it is unusual, strong." He tilted his head, curiosity in his eyes. "Strong? I don't understand." Zyra smiled faintly. It was a small gesture, but it felt natural. "You are not like us," she said simply. "Humans, you are something else." Elias' smile widened slightly. "I'll take that as a compliment." For the first time, Zyra felt a strange relief. She had spoken, even if only partially, of the instincts that overwhelmed her. And she realized something important: her instincts were not a weakness. They were a bridge, a way to understand humans in a way Orivians could never fully achieve through logic alone. That night, as Zyra lay in her quarters, she thought of Elias constantly. She reviewed every interaction, every glance, every small gesture. Her instincts no longer confused her, they guided her. She understood that she could not resist this pull. It was part of her, as natural as her thoughts, as powerful as her intellect. And deep down, she knew she would follow him again, despite the rules, despite the warnings of her species. There was something about humans, about this one human, that demanded attention, demanded action. Zyra closed her eyes and whispered to herself, "I must understand him, and through him, understand humanity." Her instincts, long dormant and suppressed by her species, had awakened. And with them, a journey had begun, one that would change her life, and perhaps the future of human and Orivian relations forever. The stars outside the observation deck twinkled like tiny sparks of promise. And for the first time, Zyra felt truly alive. Zyra could not stop thinking about Elias. Even after days of observation, the strange instincts inside her continued to grow. She had never experienced anything like it before, an urge to follow, to protect, and to understand all at once. Her species, the Orivians, valued logic and observation above emotion, but Zyra's instincts now guided her more than reason. That morning she walked along the station's corridors, keeping an eye on Elias as he went about his tasks. He moved among the human crew with ease, offering advice, listening carefully, and helping whenever needed. Every small action fascinated Zyra. She noticed the way he adjusted a tool for a young engineer, the way he patiently explained procedures, and the way he laughed softly when one of the engineers made a mistake. "Humans are remarkable," she whispered to herself, noting every detail in her observation log. She struggled to remain professional, but her instincts made it impossible to stay distant. Elias was different from any being she had studied. His combination of courage, adaptability, and kindness was overwhelming. Later, Zyra found herself in the engineering section, where Elias and his team were working on a maintenance task. One of the modules had developed a small malfunction, and the humans were unsure how to fix it. Zyra's instincts told her she should help, and before she could stop herself, she stepped forward. "Allow me," she said, her voice calm but firm. Elias looked at her with surprise. "You're trained for observation, not engineering," he said gently. "I am capable of assisting," Zyra replied. Her instincts pushed her to act, to step beyond rules and protocol. She analyzed the malfunction, identifying the problem in a way the humans could not. With her guidance, they repaired the module quickly and safely. The team cheered quietly, and Elias smiled, looking at Zyra with genuine respect. "You're impressive," he said. "I didn't expect that from an observer." Zyra felt a warmth in her chest at his words. Her instincts urged her to stay close, to watch over him, but she forced herself to retreat to her designated observation area. Yet even there, she could not stop thinking about him. Days turned into weeks. Zyra continued her observations, but her instincts guided her into smaller, more personal interactions. She began noticing details about Elias that no data could capture. The way he touched the equipment with care, the subtle expressions on his face when he solved problems, and the patience he showed toward the crew. One evening, as the station orbited a small star, a warning alarm sounded. A meteor field was approaching the station faster than expected. Humans and Aurivians rushed to secure the modules and prepare shields. Zyra's instincts told her Elias might be in danger, and she moved swiftly toward the command center. Elias was already there, coordinating the crew. He remained calm, giving orders and adjusting plans as the meteor field approached. Zyra's instincts screamed at her to assist, to protect him and the humans under his command. She moved beside him, offering suggestions for rerouting energy to the shields, predicting meteor trajectories with precision. The humans and Aurivians followed her guidance. Under her direction, the station's shields held against the meteor impact. Small sparks flew, panels buzzed, but the station remained intact. Elias turned to her, eyes wide with admiration. "Zyra, that was incredible," he said, his voice filled with awe. "You saved us." Zyra felt an instinctive joy she could not explain. Her species had never celebrated instinct in this way. She smiled faintly, almost shyly. "I only acted as necessary," she said, but even she knew it was more than that. She had acted out of instinct, a pure, unexplainable drive to protect and assist. That night, Zyra reflected on what had happened. She realized that humans were not just adaptable, they were brave, instinctive, and inspiring. Their ability to act under pressure, to combine intellect with natural intuition, was something her species could only admire from a distance. Curiosity now mixed with admiration. Zyra wanted to understand humans more deeply. She wanted to experience what drove them, what made them so capable of facing danger while remaining kind and courageous. Her instincts pushed her toward Elias once more, urging her to observe him not just as a subject, but as a guide to understanding humanity itself. Over the next days, Zyra found small ways to interact with him. She asked questions about human history, customs, and reasoning. Each answer fascinated her. Humans were not purely logical like Aurivians. They used emotion, instinct, and creativity in ways that produced remarkable results. Zyra found herself learning more than she ever could from simulations or data logs. One afternoon, while walking through the station's gardens, Elias spoke to her directly. "You seem interested in humans," he said, a small smile on his face. "I am studying," Zyra replied, but her instincts urged her to be honest. "There is more to humans than I can understand from observation alone. You inspire me." Elias paused, considering her words. "Inspire, that's a strong word." "I mean it," Zyra said. Her voice was steady, yet there was a warmth in it. "You are courageous, adaptive, and alive in ways my species cannot measure." Elias smiled, and for the first time, Zyra felt truly connected. It was more than observation, it was understanding. He represented everything instinctive, brave, and unpredictable about humans. And Zyra felt her instincts guiding her closer, urging her to learn through experience, not just observation. But life on the station was never without challenges. A small systems failure occurred during the evening shift. A containment unit for experimental energy crystals began to destabilize. The humans panicked, unsure how to manage the situation. Zyra's instincts told her to act. Without hesitation, she moved to the unit, analyzing the energy fluctuations and predicting the safest sequence to stabilize it. Elias followed her instructions, coordinating the human crew. Together, they successfully contained the crystals before any harm could occur. The humans cheered, but more importantly, Elias looked at Zyra with trust and admiration. "You're extraordinary," he said simply. "I've never met anyone like you." Zyra felt her instincts swell with pride. She realized that her species' rules about observation were no longer enough. She could not merely watch, she had to participate, to act, to connect. Humans inspired her to embrace her instincts, and in doing so, she was discovering a new way of being. That night, Zyra sat in her quarters, reviewing every encounter with Elias. She reflected on the lessons she had learned. Humans were brave, intuitive, adaptable, and compassionate. They combined instinct with intellect in ways Aurivians could only admire. And Elias, in particular, embodied all these qualities. Her instincts told her to follow him, to learn from him, and to experience humanity firsthand. She understood that she could no longer remain a passive observer. She had to embrace the connection she felt, to act when necessary, and to trust her instincts. The following day, Zyra found Elias alone in the observation deck again. The stars stretched endlessly outside the glass walls, and the station hummed quietly around them. She approached him, feeling the familiar surge of instinct. "Captain Elias," she said, her voice calm but firm. "May I join you?" Elias looked at her, surprised, but nodded. "Of course," he said. They stood side by side, looking out at the stars. Zyra felt her instincts guiding her, pushing her to speak, to connect, to understand. "Humans, you are remarkable," she said softly. "Not just for your abilities, but for the way you live, the way you act. There is a courage and life in you that inspires me." Elias turned to her, a gentle smile on his face. "You inspire me too, Zyra. You've shown bravery, insight, and care. You're unlike anyone I've ever known." For the first time, Zyra felt completely understood. Her instincts, long suppressed by her species, were finally validated. She realized that humans and Elias were teaching her something vital. Instinct and intellect together could achieve wonders, and understanding could bridge worlds. As they stood there side by side, Zyra knew one thing for certain: she would continue to follow, learn, and protect. Her instincts were no longer a secret. They were her guide, and humanity was her teacher. The stars outside seemed brighter that night, as if reflecting the new path Zyra had chosen. And deep within her, she felt the thrill of discovery, connection, and the beginning of something extraordinary. The station was quiet that morning, almost too quiet. Zyra walked along the corridors, her instincts alert. She had spent weeks observing humans, learning from Captain Elias, and understanding the spark that made them remarkable. Her species had taught her that logic ruled the universe, but her experiences on this station proved otherwise. Humans were brave, instinctive, and adaptable in ways Aurivians could not predict. As she neared the observation deck, the station's alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed across the walls. Zyra's instincts surged forward. Something was wrong. She rushed toward the command center, her long strides carrying her faster than most Aurivians could move. Elias and the human crew were already there, faces tense, eyes scanning the monitors. "What's happening?" Zyra asked, her voice calm but firm. Elias pointed to the main display. "A rogue alien fleet is approaching. They're armed, and their trajectory leads straight to the station. We need to prepare defenses immediately." Zyra's instincts tightened. She had faced emergencies before in simulations, but this was real. Humans and Aurivians alike depended on her guidance, her ability to combine logic with instinct. She felt her heart beat faster, not from fear, but from the drive to act. She moved quickly to the station's defense controls, assessing shields, energy flows, and weapon systems. "Elias," she said, "I can help coordinate the defense. Your humans are capable, but with my calculations, we can increase our chances of survival." Elias nodded, trusting her immediately. "Do it. We're counting on you." Zyra directed the station's operations with precision, predicting the enemy fleet's movements, rerouting energy to the shields, and coordinating human and Aurivian crews. Her instincts guided her, giving her insights that logic alone could not provide. Humans and Aurivians worked together seamlessly under her direction, following the orders that flowed naturally from her understanding of both species. The enemy fleet arrived, their ships cutting through the void of space like dark shadows. Lasers and energy blasts streaked across the stars as the station's defenses activated. Zyra's instincts told her where to focus, how to anticipate attacks, and when to act boldly. Elias piloted one of the smaller defense ships, coordinating with the crew. He was calm under pressure, adapting quickly to changing conditions. Zyra observed him, feeling a surge of admiration. His courage, intuition, and quick thinking were exactly what she had admired from the first moment she saw him. Suddenly, a massive alien ship broke through the station's outer shields and fired a direct beam at the docking bay. Zyra's instincts screamed. She calculated the trajectory, shouted orders to the humans, and coordinated the counterattack. The shields held, but barely. Sparks flew, panels buzzed, and the station shook violently. Elias turned to her over the comms. Zyra, that was amazing. I don't know how we could have survived without your guidance. Zyra felt her instincts swell with pride. She knew it was not just her calculations, but her understanding of humans, their courage, their instincts, their ability to act under pressure, that made the defense successful. The battle raged for hours. Zyra continued to coordinate, moving between consoles, giving instructions, and predicting enemy actions. Humans and Orivians fought side by side, following her lead. She watched Elias take daring risks, saving crew members in dangerous situations, and felt her instincts push her to assist him personally. At one critical moment, a smaller alien fighter broke through the station's defenses and targeted the main control room. Zyra and Elias were both at risk. Without hesitation, Zyra moved to intercept, guiding the crew and redirecting energy shields to protect the command center. Sparks and alarms surrounded them, but her instincts never faltered. Elias glanced at her mid-battle. Zyra, you're incredible. How do you do this? She smiled faintly. Instinct and understanding, she replied. Humans and Orivians together are stronger than either alone. The rogue fleet, seeing the combined strength and coordination of humans and Orivians, hesitated. Zyra anticipated their retreat and gave precise commands to the station's defenses. With one final coordinated strike, the enemy ships were forced to pull back, leaving the station safe for the moment. When the alarms finally ceased, silence returned to the station. Zyra and Elias stood side by side in the observation deck, breathing heavily but alive. Zyra looked out at the stars, feeling a sense of achievement she had never known. Her instincts, combined with her knowledge, had saved countless lives. But more than that, she realized that humans were not just capable, they were extraordinary. Elias turned to her, smiling with relief and admiration. Zyra, I've never met anyone like you. You saved the station, saved all of us, and you did it with courage and precision. Zyra's chest swelled with a strange warmth. You humans, you are remarkable, she said softly. Not just your courage, but your instincts, your ability to act, to adapt, to care, it is inspiring. Elias stepped closer. You've changed how I see everything. You've shown us that humans and Orivians can work together, achieve more than either species alone. I admire you, Zyra. For the first time, Zyra felt completely connected to another being, not just through observation, but through shared experience. Her instincts, long suppressed by Orivian training, were fully awake, guiding her to act, to connect, and to trust. Over the next few days, the station began repairs, but Zyra and Elias continued to work together closely. She taught the humans to anticipate challenges like an Orivian, while learning from their intuition and bravery. Her instincts guided her in every interaction, helping her bridge the gap between species. Humans adapted quickly, learning from her methods, but she also learned from them. The creativity, courage, and unpredictability of humans were unmatched. One evening, Zyra and Elias stood on the observation deck, gazing at the stars. The station was calm now, but the events of the past days had changed everything. Zyra's instincts no longer felt like a burden, they were a gift, allowing her to act in ways her species had never imagined. Humans are incredible, Zyra said softly. Elias smiled. And you've helped us see ourselves in a new way. You've taught us courage, strategy, and the importance of instinct. I'm glad you're here, Zyra. She felt a surge of emotion, unfamiliar but welcomed. Her instincts had led her here to understand, to protect, and to embrace humanity. She realized that this was only the beginning. Together, humans and Orivians could face any challenge, explore any unknown, and grow stronger. Days turned into weeks, and Zyra became an integral part of the station. She worked alongside humans, guided by her instincts, learning from them and teaching them in return. Her presence inspired others. Orivians began to respect human instincts, and humans learned from Orivian precision. The two species began to build trust, understanding, and mutual admiration. One day, while observing a distant planet through the station's telescopes, Zyra felt a strange calm. She looked at Elias and smiled. This is only the beginning, she said. Elias nodded, understanding. Together, we can face anything. Zyra's instincts, now fully embraced, guided her to stand confidently beside him. She knew that humans, with their courage, adaptability, and instinct, were the future, not just of the station, but perhaps of interstellar collaboration itself. And she would be there, learning from them, protecting them, and celebrating the extraordinary spark that made humans truly remarkable. The stars outside the observation deck seemed to shine brighter than ever. Zyra felt alive in a way she had never known. Her instincts were no longer a secret. They were her guide, her strength, and her connection to humanity. For the first time, she understood what it truly meant to embrace instinct, courage, and humanity. And with Captain Elias by her side, she was ready for whatever the universe would bring. The journey of understanding, connection, and admiration had only just begun, and Zyra knew that humans were worth every step.